Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. I once again don't really want to make this episode about the witch farm, but I've got really good news, and that it's been working an absolute charm. I made one more modification to this farm, and then I got to leave it running overnight, and we have got a serious amount of drops from this thing. It is doing absolutely fantastic. So I made a little bit of a mistake by putting a pressure plate below a fence gate because of course they interact with one another, and this stopped the witches from going in smoothly. So I replaced this with an entirely different system, and as you can see the witches move into the water stream with no problems at all now. So the change here was rather simple. We put a cobblestone wall down the bottom, which means the witch moving through the water gets pushed up half a block, and that allows them to go straight into the water stream on the soul sand. And so with some signs at the back there, the gap is all big and open for the witches to bob through, and as you can see they go up very quickly. So I left my system on overnight, doing its AFK clicking and collecting an inordinate amount of drops. Look at this, my inventory is filled up. That is a wonderful sight. If we go down below, we're going to see that we've filled up chests upon chests with goodies. And one of the things I hadn't thought about is sticks. This will actually be fuel for smelting, and we got a stupid amount of it, so I need to bring over some shulker boxes. We've filled up all of these bottles right here, and of course I need the bottles for the honey farm, and we've almost got a full chest. Now I could sit around chugging all of these to get extra bottles, but that's a little bit silly. Now while I was AFK overnight, I was also using my computer to do research for the current situation with coronavirus and COVID-19. Now I have expressed the details of this in another video. It uses a program called Folding at Home to contribute to scientific research, and so when I'm not using my computer, it is folding proteins and trying to help the cause. If you're interested in this in the slightest, we have a Hermitcraft team that is contributing towards research for this project, and you can find a link on the screen in the description box where I explain it in much more detail. And as of recording this video, the Hermitcraft team has completed over 5,800 work units, and all of that contributes to scientific research in this current situation. So I want to thank everyone here for getting involved. Now let's get back on track with the Minecrafting. I have brought over all of those materials, and they have filled up these shulker boxes, which is amazing. But I'm starting to think that I am outgrowing my storage system here, as even these unlabeled chests are full of items. And so for now, I'm just going to keep them in their shulker boxes and dump them into here. So one overnight session of witch farming, and we've got bottles up to here. We've got to fill up all of that. That's many, many nights. And the other side as well. I've got a feeling we might not even fill this up by the end of the season. And before you go and call me a derp, yes, I've just remembered this side is already full, and it's full of shears because it doesn't use bottles. So in the last episode of Hermitcraft, we built the world's derpiest shop. Oh, and there are construction trucks in town. Yeah, the thing with this shop is, if we've had any customers, I have to go through here and check every single one of these individually. And so do the customers. It's such a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the llama butt. That should be the name of the shop, right? Oh, llamas are so derpy. And these trucks that Keralis have built over here look beautiful. They are mixer trucks, bringing in the concrete ready to be mixed with colour. We've got such a long way to go with this project, and we are going to get something done in this episode, that is for sure. We're going to start off by clearing up this area down here. You can see that there's some redstone from the rock shop in the place. I've got some trees that I was farming, and we got scaffolding in the way. So now things are starting to take form a little bit. It's very dark in here, but I'm clearing out the space. I put a wall around the redstone. We're going to expand the walls on the outside down to the bottom. You can kind of see over here where there's a bunch of dirt that it's been built on. Thing is, I don't have Instamine at the moment, and we're going to jump into a random miniature time lapse because there's a little bit of story behind where my beacon currently is. We are working on so many projects, it's kind of crazy, right? And this over here is actually the top of the slime farm that's down below, and the plan is to open the entire thing up, which is why I cleared the surface here. And that's going to increase spawn rates and allow us to do something really funky and interesting with killing the slimes. But I've actually just come over here to grab the beacon, and so I thought I'd show you why there is this big old square at the top here that's been hollowed out. I've also been slowly expanding the amount of floors in the iron farm. As you can see, I think there's like one more to build, and because of this, the rates have been through the roof. Yep, look at that, my friends. Not just slime balls, but slime blocks as well. I've been crafting them up because this thing is backed up so often. That is a beautiful sight. Plenty and plenty of slime. Anyway, we came over here to collect the beacon. So down here in the mines, I need to set up a new beacon. I decided to go in this direction, and what do I run straight into? Diamonds! Thank you very much. I'll take these. And then literally a minute later, I found some more. Oh, jeez, lava! So getting back to our concrete factory over here in the commercial district, I kind of realized that we haven't exactly explained the particulars of what we're doing here. And that's because we've got a lot of plans for what's going to go on inside of this ginormous building. And it's better to explain things, I think, as you get to them, rather than try to paint the whole picture. So it's in this space here that Corrales is going to be building a depot where the trucks come in and they deliver materials for the concrete to be made inside of the factory. And thanks to the beacon allowing us to rip out the stone, I think we've given him plenty of space to get started with. Now the actual entrance to this shop is going to end up being on the other side of the building, somewhere around here. Now there is a lot of height difference in this build, and I don't really know what the floor plan for this thing is, but obviously we've got to start out by clearing materials, and so I wanted to come through here and get rid of all the mycelium and dirt. And the result is just astonishing how big this is, and there's going to be more to be removed in the future. Of course, all this stone has got to go. I also need to get our hands on some sand. I've got lots of gravel. But over here, you're going to see we're getting very low on white concrete. Yikes. And there is something else I need to collect in this area too. So yes, last episode we visited Stress Monster's 2B shop for potions in the future. And I got a gazillion comments because I walked right past this. And this, I guess, is my reward for filling in the book. And then you could also get another reward. I mean, to be fair, they both say rewards, but many of you told me I was supposed to pick diamonds out of here, so cool, we got 2 diamonds. So here is our sand and gravel situation for making concrete. Everything at the top is sand, everything at the bottom is gravel. Clearly there is an imbalance, so we are going to go to the desert and try and fill all of these shulker boxes up. So that was a very fast time lapse. Yeah, you've seen gathering sand a gazillion times, but that was me doing it, and now we're kind of, you know, rammed full of materials, so we need to now convert these to concrete colours. So I have travelled the distance to an absolutely beautiful place here on the server, BOO's base, and that is because I have no cactus. I have not been loading my temporary cactus farm, and I'm in need of some dye to make up all of this concrete powder. This is a gorgeous build right here. That looks beautiful. So the coordinates were very precise, the ones I were given, and it's led me to here, which appears to be probably a 0-tick cactus farm. Oh, and it looks like it's hooked up to, yeah, a smeltery, and look at that. Tons and tons of green dye. And there he is. We got to give him a gift. Do you know what? He's right next to a bed, and the sun is getting lower in the sky. Let's send him a few stacks of these firework rockets. This place is very inspiring. I'm just flying around, soaking in the ambience of these gorgeous builds. Oh, it really is lovely over here. So now we have all of our dyes prepared, and I gotta say, there's something very satisfying about them being laid out like this. And now it's all been converted into powder. I don't know when I'm going to turn this into actual concrete. But the material we need the most of right now is the white concrete, and so I'm going to convert the last of this stuff into white concrete. So it turns out I was actually able to get this thing up and running straight away. I had jobs to do around the house, some tidying up and cleaning, and you know what, all in all this thing took about 2 hours maybe to do all of these shulker boxes down here, and the machine was running on setting number 2. Now if I want to do this manually by myself, it works fine on setting number 1 because we don't have to worry about this. So I've just been doing the last bits by myself. This thing is insanely fast and insanely loud as well. With these kind of projects, we rarely get everything working 100% of the time straight away, and I have found another issue that I need to take care of. It would appear that when this hopper here falls up, you can see it's empty because I had to come and correct that. Some of the concrete blocks falling down will actually get caught inside of the hopper. And that is because the hopper's hitbox actually has like a little bit of a dip inside of it. So if I chuck that in there, you can see it's actually resting inside of the block. So it wouldn't interact with any water over the top of it. And that could lead to some losses here. It's funny, I realised I'd be spending a lot of time in this area making concrete. And I want to start decorating the place. And now I realise that I should really install an item filter for this system. Because it's an absolute mess. And do you know what else is a complete mess? This llama store right here. What a silly idea. It has been completely derpy. We've had no customer sales. But what we planned to do is renovate this store right here. And that's precisely what we're going to do right now. Give these llamas a far better home to sell concrete from. And by home, what I clearly mean is a cell. A cell that they are forever trapped in. We're going to jump into a little test world and explain exactly how this works in just a moment. But as of right now, our llamas are all standing on top of barrels, which we were going to fill up with stock, as well as them holding some of it as well, right? But that doesn't quite work out because it's tricky to click on the barrels down here. So anyway, the time lapse that you just watched, that was done during a live stream, and it was one of those ones that really kind of clicked and worked, and we had such a blast hanging out together and figuring out how to make this llama store. If you want to see it, I'm going to put a link to it in the description box down below. If you've never seen one of my live streams, go and check it out because it was just really one of those fun, memorable ones, and this right here is kind of amazing, right? So it was on the live stream that we hung out together figuring things out, like the design of what we were building here and how to make this work. And we actually ended up ditching this idea of having some leaf blocks over the top, which was a really good idea. But eventually we realized this is kind of like very unobtrusive to have glass directly above where the llama stands. Now, because there are these wall blocks on either side, it means that the llama can't actually escape, and you, the player, can't even push them out of this little cell. And you're able to actually put these side by side, as you've seen. Even better, you can cover up the wall and keep the effect of it having a higher collision box than a regular block. And so that kind of led to the idea that you've seen a moment ago. So I've got tons of stock over here to sell. And now we're going to go and put these shulker boxes into place. You see, after wondering how to figure out the problem with the barrels, I thought I was going to put a barrel at the front here. But actually we can continue the color effect just by having the shulker boxes right here. How fantastic is that? Pretty awesome, right? Oh, this has been such an amazing project. I love these llamas. I love all their unique details, and it's so cool to have them out on display. And now things look a little bit better that this janky pen has been ripped out of here. It kind of looks like some sort of blast or explosion happened. Certainly scrappy looking, and we do need to tidy this up a little bit more, like we've got a wall block sticking out here. And I think I'm just going to do this again on a live stream and get some live feedback and try and develop a little bit more structure here for what was a temporary shop but is now a pretty spectacular one. I've also come and put some prices labels in here so it's nice and clear how to use this, and we are all stocked up. But the creation of this has actually left me with a bunch of glass lying around, which is kind of useful because colourful glass is what we're going to be needing next. So we need to decorate this building and bring some life to it, and I had this idea to do something that felt kind of corporate-y, like a corporate warehouse. I was going to put some grey patterns on the side of the building and big windows with iron trapdoors and iron bars, which are actually probably going to still use those last two elements. But then I independently from a couple of people got tweeted the same image, so I'm going to put it on my screen. Apparently this is the Lego HQ in Denmark, and some people reached out to me and said, what you're building kind of looks like this. And when I saw that, me and Corrales were both like, that is 10 times better than what I was originally going to do. So now what we're going to think of these boxes here are as having a unique color each. So where we have stone up the top, and let's actually get up in the air here, we're going to take one like this, for example, and replace it with red concrete. So that will become the roof up the top here. And then down the sides, we're going to add some windows made out of red stained glass, and we're going to pop some window shutters on the top and bottom of them using these two materials. And I think that is the way forward for the build we're doing here. Now this is a point in time where you're going to have all sorts of urges to try and make the things you're putting into your build as symmetrical as possible. And if I had thought ahead of time, maybe I could have made all these cubes the perfect size. It just happens this one that we're starting with will allow us to have a window that's 3 blocks wide 3 times in a row. But over on this side, of course, what I could do is have the window come lower down, but then it would rub up against the side of this block here, and that might look a little bit odd. So it's going to be interesting to see how I figure out fitting all of this into the shapes that we have present. But I don't mind doing it in that order, because otherwise you have to build the whole thing from start to end in creative modes, and that can be very time consuming as well. So getting the basics figured out and then attaching all of this detail is kind of the way to move forward. And I don't think I'll be waiting for your feedback to hear what you think of the iron trapdoors up the top. It just don't look right there, does it? It looks right at the bottom though, and I think what I might also try is replacing this with white stained glass, so we have the same shape, but it's a little less industrial. And that right there I think is a fantastic start, so let's get more built up going in this direction. Here I am thinking of using a rocket to fly up into the air and show you what I've done, and then I see a rocket. This makes a really good vantage point. So we have red, we have yellow, and if you saw the colours in my inventory earlier, green and blue are going to be the other two, and we're going to have 8 coloured sections in total, and then the rest I might do as like minor colours or just stick to greys. We have a new vantage point, my friends, and no, I'm actually not looking at the camera is looking at me, because this vantage point wasn't good enough. I want to fly up here with the camera account so you can see the colours at the top. That's actually where it looks really most glorious, when that colour starts to pop. But I put in a whole bunch of windows, and we've done 4 sections of colour, and something you'll notice is that they're all facing towards the centre of the shopping area. I'm not going to be putting windows on the back over here. This is mostly going to be left plain and unseen, although I might decorate stuff later on. It is late. It is getting very, very late. And wow, oh no, I've still got one more to do, the red one. This one over here is going to be red. I thought I just got on top of all of this, but I've missed a bit, and I'm starting to wonder, should I actually throw in more colours, or should I get more of those 4 colours into a few more blocks before I start to add the greys? I'm not entirely sure, so I'm looking for some feedback, but so far I'm really loving where this is going. And what I want to show you next is the inside, because when I last showed you it, it was all dark and gloomy in there, and now it's starting to get some natural light, and you get a real sense of scale coming together as you wander through here now. So we're going to have to touch up the insides, get rid of those dirt blocks, bring the white concrete down, tidy up some of these edges as well, and then it's really going to start to develop a cool vibe in here. And then from there, all sorts of things will unfold. So we're going to get this done, but I've realised that this is the first building that doesn't actually have an exterior wall facing towards the middle, and that means it breaks the pattern. And then it gave me that whole kind of OCD feeling of like, oh no, this all needs to be neat and orderly. That feeling always holds you back. We're just going to make an exception here, or maybe make an oddity and also put some red windows over here, and it just so happens it's got this balcony area and it feels like it's kind of cooling for really big windows on that side. So we're going to roll with it and put the windows here and there. Decided to do things a little different on that edge there, and it actually looks really, really cool. This project is so much fun, but it's got such a long way to go. While I was working on this, a little raft in the pond area, I guess you could call it, of the commercial district just got a fair bit bigger. It's a massive raft now. Oh, someone's come over here and brought some already. I was going to say, we should probably come in here and get some of this sand and gravel before it all gets sold. Thing is, I'm pretty diamond poor at the moment. I need to come up with a more lucrative way to make diamonds at the moment. I mean, they're just trickling in from these shops. Ah, yes, 160 blocks. That is what I owe for the llama shop down there. And that's my last diamond block. I'm down to like 40 diamonds. That's it. That's all I got to my name at the moment. If I'm to make more diamonds, I'm going to have to try my luck at AFKing overnight here at the ink farm. Problem is, if anyone else is online, I usually get nothing. So hopefully there'll be a little bit of time where it's just me. We can get some ink sacks and maybe make diamonds that way. I think I'm going to have to raise the price. But anyway, we're at the end of the video. Remember, there were 2 videos I mentioned you can check out in the description box down below, the live stream and the folding video over on my Asuma Says channel. So if those interested you, check them out. And if you want to, leave a like and help support the video. As always, that's appreciated. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.